He's not tier 3 yet, and he's below 50 food. Always stay below 50 food. If you haven't started producing your tier 3 army, oftentimes you'll just see amateur human players. They'll be at like 55 food with like foots and peasants, and you know they're at medium upkeep, and the undead players at right now, like Lucifer is at low upkeep still, mostly just getting gold and like trying to like try and like compete with Todd's Expo. But either way, the main thing here is that Todd's staying below 50 food and just banking. He has so much gold. He's 1,500 gold. If he was going Paladin, he would probably bank for a lot longer. But you know, the point is, bank. Don't go over 50 food. It's like one of the most important points of Warcraft. Right now, Todd just sort of doing his standard creeping, and Lucifer starting an Expo. And Lucifer has been teching tier 3 for some time, but it's sort of irrelevant to Todd because Lucy's tech was so late. He's not going to be able to get any sort of destroyer power too quickly. So if he can't get like insanely quick destroyers, then there's really no reason for Todd to make more than these few towers. I think all too often humans just assume that they have to make 400 towers to win, which is not the case. It's very based on what your opponent does. If you see your opponent with a solo DK fast teching to tier 3 and building 2 slaughterhouses, you make 10 towers because he's going to mass destroyers and he's going to push your base. If you see the Undead go a panda second, you mass towers because he's going to be going mass destroyers. You don't really have much of a choice. I mean, you can try to go rifle caster, like you can try. Like people think I don't want to be that lame human tower cheese. You don't really have much of a choice oftentimes. If you're not doing an Expo, you cannot mass towers and go fast tier 3. But even then, it's very difficult to be able to fend off the Undeads. Well, it's very difficult to be able to fend off the Undead's tech and his push, simply because destroyers are vastly stronger than anything the human can buy time for. And also, at tier 3 with Nova Coil and Impale, Undead units are vastly more efficient than human units. A-bombs are basically the most efficient tier 3 melee in the game. They're pretty much better than knights, like as far as I'm concerned. Being that you can't staff them out, you can still coil them. The main thing for me as far as knights, like I feel like in a situation like this, obviously knights are useless because he's basically facing gargs. But my feeling is that you do need like some. Like if you look at right now what's basically happening, he's making a couple griffins and a couple knights. He's sort of making a mix, which I find interesting. Like usually human players slice it in like two ways. They'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go knights and gyros because I'm versing fiends, and I'm gonna go gyros and griffins because I'm versing ghouls and destro. Okay, like I mean, I guess that's reasonable logic. Like knights theoretically counter fiends and gyros theoretically counter destroyers, but it doesn't really work that way because right now Lucifer is just making gargs, and he's made an Expo, and he's just holding on to this Expo for as long as he can while he's buying time for his destroyers, which are being produced at his slaughterhouse now. If you look at what's Todd's basically doing, he's just trying to control the map. He sees Lucifer up here going to creep, and with a panda third, basically means that Lucifer's going mass air. The panda's very good versus gyrocopters, simply based on the fact that gyrocopters die to mass AoE. A level 3 panda or a level 5 panda versus gyros is like a slaughter. So again, it's extremely important that you don't it's extremely important that versus Panda you try and control him and keep him from creeping, like sort of what Todd's doing right now. Lucifer just trying to get as much as he can out of this creeping that's happening. The main thing though, as far as what I'm seeing, is he's keeping his gyrocopters back for the most part, unless he needs to push them out. Right now he's going to play a little more aggressive here, but again, you can't really get too much on Lucifer with Aura. He can run away and hit and run so easily. Another main thing to notice here, Todd didn't pursue Lucifer to the well. Don't pursue opponents to the well, that's stupid. If you look at what just happened right now, a little boat focus, and Todd was able to successfully kill the panda, simply because the panda cannot be coiled, and a non-coilable panda it's pretty much rad. I'm gonna be real. Like, it's one of the basically the only reasons why I find it even somewhat balanced is if the panda can't be coiled, you know, you can basically focus it with griffins. So and force them to use invulnerability potions, etc. Lucifer right now, basically game's over. He just lost all his peasants, or his not all his acolytes, but he just like lost tons and tons of units, and he's basically just getting all his units harassed. No mana on his DK to coil the Lich, so the Lich is gonna go down. What are you gonna do, you know? And as far as like what Todd did right versus what Lucifer did wrong in this game, simply based on the fact that Todd was able to control the map versus Lucifer. He was able to use his choke points effectively and just sort of control the usage of gargs. With just those few towers and level 3 water elementals, you notice how very easy it was for him to stop the gargs. The main purpose of the garg versus fast expansion is to either take it down or exploit the fact that they're not making towers quick enough. If you notice, the human just didn't make a tower, like they just straight up explode. That might be a good cue to, you know, make gargs. Personally, as a human player, I always make one guard and one arcane at each base before I tech. That's just my way of playing, because I feel that I don't want to lose to gargs in any situation. And with just 2 towers, you can defend that initial harass and gauge the amount of towers you need to make. I think that's one of the interesting parts of this game is Todd didn't mass towers. Most of the time, the matchup, I feel like even I stereotype it into a matchup that you need mass towers to win, especially on an amateur level. But Todd handled himself very well. Macro-wise, he was using all of his lumber at all times, and he was able to make an efficient tier 3 army that defeated gargs, and that's basically exactly what you need to do versus Undead. I guess the main points to take away from this is, notice Todd never went to the Undead's base. I feel like the best way to beat Undead is to cancel buildings, but I think in this case, especially with the Undead making a tier 2 army with gargs, it was very, very efficient of Todd to just creep and control the DK and Lich from getting high levels, and to control the Panda from getting high levels. Because the moment that Panda's like up there in levels, and the moment like the Lich is like a level 5, everything, you can't win really. Like, they're gonna Breath of Fire and Nova your Knights and Gyros, and they're all gonna be half HP. That's horrible, because then Destros with mana are just gonna splash damage, rape all your Gyros. So it's very important that you keep the game short and simple, especially if you're doing what Todd did. Perhaps if Todd felt like he couldn't win, like if the Undead was also going tier 3, maybe he would have tried to sneak another expansion, and his tier 3 would have been larger. Like, he would have waited for 80 of 80 and just harassed, and like gone in with Invisible, retrained Archmage, and Blizzard his mine. I think the main thing, for my advice, like I get a lot of like MSNs, aims, people like Joseki, how do I beat, yada yada yada. Okay, let me explain something. For all of you guys out there who play 5 games a week and then listen to my audio and go, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong, and you go into ladder and you lose doing a strategy you saw a pro do, that's not how the game works. The game doesn't work. You can't just watch a couple replays, watch a couple audios, and then go into ladder and go 10-0. Like, Warcraft's very complex. It isn't just listening to audios. It isn't just watching replays. It's playing. I play almost 20 games a day when I'm practicing. Like, for the last week I really haven't. I've only been playing 5 or 6. But, I mean, for 3 months before that, this last week, I've basically been playing 20 games a day. Just playing and just getting sharper and sharper. The only way you get better is from playing. You don't get better from theory crafting, and you don't get better from just watching pros. I mean, that is one way to get better, to understand strategies and comprehend why they're doing what they're doing and use some of their tactics. But the most important thing to realize is that you cannot get better just from like playing a couple games. You'll slowly improve. I'm not saying like you'll never be Gosu. If you play for 50 years and you play 5 games a week, yeah, eventually you're going to be good. You need to be, if you want to be good, go into ladder and just aim for top 20 ladder. Just play 5 to 6 ladder games a day. Just every day set aside an hour and a half to just play those 5 ladder games and just do it. Just play those games every day, and every time you lose, spend 1 minute while they're killing your base instead of alt QQing, thinking about what you did wrong in the game. Watching the replay, I feel, doesn't really help that much, but I feel like if you just take that 1 minute at the very end to just think about what you did wrong, you're probably going to improve a lot. Anyway, this has been Joseki Audio. That's all, guys. Peace.